All right, ready to dive into some AI drama.
Yeah, always up for that.
We're talking accusations of stolen tech, like serious market mayhem, and a whole lot of intrigue. You send over this whole stack of articles on DeepSeek and their new AI model, R1.
Oh yeah, R1.
This thing has everyone buzzing, especially since they're saying it can go head-to-head with the giants like OpenAI, Google, the whole gang.
Yeah, it's really shaking things up.
So let's just break this whole thing down.
Okay.
First, who even is DeepSeek?
DeepSeek is a Chinese AI startup. Kind of came out of nowhere, really.
Okay.
And what are they claiming about R1? Well, they're saying R1 can not only match, but actually maybe even surpass the capabilities of other models.
Yeah.
You know, from those big names, OpenAI, Google, even Meta.
Hmm.
Especially when it comes to math and just general knowledge.
Yeah.
Two areas that have historically been very difficult for AI to master.
And they're doing all this on like a shoestring budget compared to these, like, massive tech giants?
Right.
That's what's got everyone so surprised.
Right. Exactly. They claim to have developed R1 for a fraction of the cost.
Yeah.
That's the part that's making everyone kind of raise their eyebrows and ask some serious questions about how they pulled it off.
Right.
Are they like geniuses who have somehow cracked the code of efficient AI development? Or is there something else going on here?
Okay, so that leads us to the drama with Microsoft and OpenAI. They're not exactly buying DeepSeek's story, are they?
Not at all.
What's going on there?
So Microsoft, which is heavily invested in OpenAI, they started to notice, I guess you could say, some fishy activity last fall
Okay.
linked to DeepSeek. They think that people connected to DeepSeek were pulling enormous amounts of data through OpenAI's API, potentially violating the terms of service.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
For those of us who don't speak fluent tech, break it down for us. What is an API, and why is this such a big deal?
Okay, think of an API like a doorway into a company's software or data. You're allowed to use it, but there are rules, right? Like a speed limit. What DeepSeek may have done is bypass those limits, and they just took a joyride, essentially grabbing way more data than they should have.
Okay, so they were basically sneaking in, getting extra scoops of ice cream when no one was looking, except instead of ice cream, it was valuable data that could give them an edge in this whole AI race.
Right, exactly. And it gets even more interesting because one source even suggested that DeepSeek might have been trying to, like, sidestep OpenAI's restrictions on data access altogether.
Oh, wow.
It's like they were trying to hack the system and make off with the whole ice cream truck.
Wow, so not just extra scoops, but the whole truck. That's audacious, to say the least.
Yeah.
But how does this connect to the claims that DeepSeek might not have built R1 from scratch? Did they use this stolen data to build their model?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
And that's where David Sachs comes into the picture. Remember him? The AI expert who worked under former President Trump.
Yeah, the name rings a bell. What's his take on all of this?
Well, he's suggesting that DeepSeek might have used a technique called distillation
Okay.
to train R1. Essentially, it's like training your AI using the output of another AI.
Mm.
Kind of like copying someone else's homework,
Yeah.
but for artificial intelligence.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Yeah,
And Sachs seems pretty convinced that this is what happened.
he does.
Okay.
In fact, he told Fox News that there's substantial evidence to support this theory. Now, whether or not this evidence holds up under scrutiny, well, that remains to be seen.
Right.
But his statement definitely adds another layer of intrigue to this whole saga.
This is getting seriously interesting. We've got these allegations of data theft, misuse of OpenAI's technology, and now this whole distillation theory. It sounds like the AI world is brewing up its own version of a spy thriller.
It really does.
And all of this is sending shockwaves through the industry. Just look at what happened on Monday.
Yeah.
The stock prices for major players, I'm talking Microsoft, NVIDIA, Oracle, even Google's parent company, Alphabet, they all took a nosedive. We're talking about almost $1 trillion in market value wiped out in a single day.
$1 trillion.
$1 trillion.
Wow.
It really highlights the high stakes involved in this AI race and how much weight this DeepSeek news carries.
Yeah, it's a crazy amount of money. Shows you just how much confidence those investors have in these big companies and how much this DeepSeek situation's, I guess you could say, unsettle in them.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the ground is shifting beneath the entire AI landscape.
Yeah.
But for someone listening who might not be following the tech world so closely, they might be wondering how this impacts them. Like, what does $1 trillion market drop really mean for the average person?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think the takeaway here is that the AI race just got a whole lot more, um, I guess, unpredictable. DeepSeek's emergence and how they've kind of, sidestepped the traditional path to AI development has thrown a wrench into things. Like
Yeah.
they're challenging the status quo and forcing everybody to rethink how
I
they
know.
do things.
It's like a David and Goliath story, except David showed up with a slingshot no one knew existed.
Yeah, exactly. And it raises some pretty big questions. Is DeepSeek just a rogue disruptor willing to bend the rules to get ahead? Or are they a sign of things to come, like a harbinger of a new era where the old rules of AI development just don't apply anymore?
So is this kind of fierce competition ultimately good for AI? Does it push everyone to, innovate faster, leading to breakthroughs that benefit us all? Or could it lead to more ethical breaches, more shortcuts being taken, potentially harming the field in the long run?
Well, it's kind of double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
On one hand, this competition can be a powerful motivator. It drives innovation, and it really pushes those boundaries of what's possible. But it also creates this environment where the the temptation to cut corners, to prioritize speed over, responsibility, it becomes very real.
Right. What about the implications of DeepSeek's open source approach? If R1 is truly as capable as they're claiming and it's freely available for anyone to use, anyone to modify, could that change the whole game?
Absolutely. It could totally democratize access to really powerful AI, making it available to researchers, developers, even just individuals who wouldn't have had the resources to compete with the big companies before.
Yeah.
Imagine the potential for new innovations, for applications that, we haven't even thought of yet.
That's an exciting prospect, but there's got to be a flip side too, right?
Mhm.
What about the potential for misuse? If this AI is in everyone's hands, couldn't it also fall into the wrong hands?
Oh, yeah. That's the, I guess you could say, the $1 million question, or maybe the $1 trillion question, given the market swings we've seen.
Right.
The open source approach has always been a bit of a tightrope walk,
Yeah.
trying to balance the benefits of accessibility with the risks of misuse.
Yeah. Feels like we're at a crossroads in, AI development.
Mm.
DeepSeek's emergence has thrown a spotlight on some crucial questions we got to be asking ourselves as a society. How do we balance that drive for progress with the need for responsible development?
Hmm.
How do we ensure that AI benefits humanity as a whole and it doesn't become a tool for, division or harm?
Those are the big questions, aren't they?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there are no easy answers. But one thing's for sure,
Mm-hmm.
ignoring these questions, that's not an option.
Yeah.
We need to have these conversations, grapple with the complexities, and try to figure out a path, that leads to a future where AI is a force for good.
And what about the immediate future? What should we be watching for as this DeepSeek story continues to unfold? What are some of the key developments you think will kind of shape this narrative going forward?
Well, for starters, Microsoft and OpenAI, their investigation, it's still ongoing. Will they find enough evidence to take some kind of legal action against DeepSeek?
Mm.
And if they do, how will DeepSeek respond? Will they try to defend the way they do things, or will they just, retreat into the shadows?
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see how they deal with all this pressure. They've been pretty quiet so far, but they can't stay silent forever.
Exactly. And beyond the legal battle, there's also the bigger question of how this will impact the development of AI going forward.
Yeah.
Will we see a shift towards more open source models like R1?
Yeah.
Will the big players be forced to be more transparent about their own methods, their own data usage?
It's like DeepSeek has thrown down a challenge, hasn't it? Challenging that established order and forcing everyone to kind of reevaluate their assumptions. And as you mentioned earlier, this could have massive implications for how accessible this technology is and the future direction of AI, as a whole.
Absolutely. And the response, from the rest of the AI community, from policymakers, from the public, it'll be crucial in shaping what happens next.
Yeah. Feels like we're standing at a pivotal moment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A moment where the choices we make, the conversations we have, could kind of ripple outwards and shape the future of AI for years to come.
I completely agree. The stakes are really high, the questions are complicated, and, the outcome, totally uncertain. But one thing is certain, this whole DeepSeek saga, it's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that the AI revolution is not some distant, future event. It's happening right now, and it's happening all around us.
Yeah.
And it's time for all of us to really, I guess you could say, engage with it in a thoughtful way.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We talked about the accusations, the fallout in the market, the potential implications for the future of, AI development. But for you listening, what does all of this really mean? What's the, so what moment?
The biggest takeaway, I think, is that the AI landscape is a lot more dynamic and a lot more unpredictable than a lot of people realize.
Mm-hmm.
The emergence of someone like DeepSeek, seemingly from nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
shows that the balance of power can shift really quickly, and the old rules, they
Yeah.
don't always apply.
It's like we've been looking at a map of the AI world, thinking we had all the major landmarks all figured out, and then suddenly, a whole new continent just appears on the horizon.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And it really underscores how important it is to stay informed, to stay curious, and to be willing to, challenge our assumptions about how AI is developing and who controls it.
Because the future of AI isn't something that's just happening to us, right? It's something we're all shaping collectively through the choices we make, the conversations we have, the actions we take.
Exactly. And that's both a responsibility and an opportunity.
Yeah.
It's a responsibility to engage with these issues thoughtfully and ethically, and it's a chance to contribute to creating a future where AI is a force for good.
So as we start to wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with one final thought to kind of ponder.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about DeepSeek and OpenAI, but they're just two players, in a much larger ecosystem. What about everyone else out there, all the other, individuals and organizations around the world who are working on AI, quietly developing their own technologies, pursuing their own agendas?
Mm-hmm.
What innovations are happening beneath the surface? And what impact are they going to have when when they emerge? Will they follow the established rules, or will they forge their own paths?
And maybe even more importantly, what are their motivations? What are their ethical frameworks? What are their visions for the future of AI?
Those are some pretty big questions to grapple with,
Yeah.
but they're the questions we got to be asking.
Yeah.
Because those answers, they could shape the future of AI and, ultimately the future of humanity itself.
This DeepSeek story is really just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
It's just a glimpse into a world that's evolving so rapidly, and it's full of both promise and peril.
Right.
It's a reminder that the AI revolution, it's not some distant thing. It's happening right now. It's happening all around us. And it's up to all of us to engage with it, fully and thoughtfully, and with, I guess, a clear understanding of what's at stake.
This whole deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about. It's clear that the AI landscape is a lot more complex and a lot more, I guess you could say, fascinating than I ever imagined. It feels like we've only scratched the surface. There's so much more to unpack here. From, the technical side of AI development to the bigger societal and economic implications.
Yeah, it's like peeling back the layers of an onion,
Yeah.
Every time you think you've got a handle on things, there's another layer and another and another.
And that's what makes this so, so compelling, right? This DeepSeek story. It's like it's opened up this Pandora's box of questions about the future of AI, who's really in control of it, and the choices we're facing as a society.
Yeah, for sure. We're in uncharted territory here.
Yeah.
And that can be both, exciting and a little bit scary.
Yeah.
But one thing's clear.
Mhm.
We can't just sit back and watch this all happen.
We can't be passive. We got to engage with these questions, be part of the conversation, and make sure our voices are heard.
Exactly. The future of AI, it's not set in stone. It's something we're actively shaping right now.
So for everyone listening, we want to leave you with this. Don't just take in this information and move on. Let this DeepSeek story be a jumping off point for your own exploration.
Yeah, dig deeper. Research the different approaches to AI development. Look into the ethical considerations. Talk to people about it.
Because the more we all know, the better we'll be able to navigate this whole crazy landscape, right? And make sure that AI is used for good.
Yeah, that's the key. AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used to build things up or to tear things down.
Right.
The outcome depends on the choices we make, both as individuals and together as a society.
So be curious, be informed, and be engaged. The future of AI is literally being written right now, and we all have a part to play in how that story unfolds. That's it for our deep dive. But the conversation, it doesn't stop here. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep those questions coming.